All information contained in this podcast is general in nature and does not consider your individual circumstances. You should consider the appropriateness of this information with regards to your individual objectives, financial situation, and needs. Welcome to Sharing More Than the Sheets, a podcast to help you and your partner make better financial and lifestyle decisions so that you can both focus on the things that you love. I'm your host, Michael Khouri, financial planner, green thumb, husband, and just dad. This segment is called Michael's Magic Moment. It's my opportunity to play a little snippet from one of our previous episodes, which resonated with our listeners, that I received feedback from, or I felt really had an impact on some people's lives. Hope you enjoy it. Now, in the past, I've talked a lot about battening down the hatches, getting ready for a storm, or at least preparing for a storm. Now, a storm may not come, but it comes, and I'm not talking about a weather storm. I'm talking about a financial storm. I'm talking about when times get tough, when we go through rough patches, which everyone does, or situations where just financially things are just really tight. Maybe there's a jump in expenses for a particular reason, or a drop of income for a particular reason. But there are things that happen. There are things that pop up with cars, with houses. Share markets may not be performing well. Work may not be as busy as usual. Things happen, and it's really important to be prepared. This episode that we go back to is one where I go through a few things that you can do to prepare for a storm, and a few things to just really keep top of mind when it comes to thinking about your financial situation. The thing about storms, or the thing about tough financial periods in our lives, is usually we don't actually see them coming as well. Sometimes it could be there, but we're just sort of ignorant to it. Sometimes it could be something that just happens that's literally out of our control. So it's really important to, even when things are going really well, to be always thinking about a plan B, always thinking about having a backup, and financially being in a position where you can weather storms or even take advantage of them if you make the right decisions. So I hope you enjoy these little tips that I've put through. For more of a chat, please send me a message and pass this on to someone that you think needs to be preparing for a storm, or at least preparing for something, whether it's a financial situation which they usually experience every year at certain periods, or whether it's something that they definitely don't expect and don't see coming. Hope you enjoy. The first thing, and I've talked about this before and I'll harp on it about it again, but the importance of budgeting, the importance of knowing what's coming in, what's going out, the importance of having a structure in the way your money's being managed. And the reason this is so important is because if you have a structure, if you know what's coming in, if you know what's going out, it's a lot easier to be in control of your money and to plan for things, because without really knowing what's going on, it's almost impossible to plan for a rainy day or to prepare for the storm. The second part is maximizing your savings, having liquidity in your wealth. So having cash, basically. We've heard the saying that cash is king. Having money, having liquidity, having access to funds when you need it. Because if you talk to any person, any couple, any business owner, anyone that's gone through any financial tightness, we'll call it, having cash is what saved them. Or if they didn't have it, that's what made things stressful. So having savings in place gives you that cushion. It gives you that security. And what it also does, and as I said earlier, if you want to end up on top, when we do go through an economic crisis, or we go through financial hardship as a country, or you as a household, you call it a household manager or a business owner, you'll find having cash will mean that you can take advantage of particular opportunities as well. It gives you options. The other thing is, and this comes as part of the budgeting part, but when you sort of start looking at your bills, it's important to look at what bills you can reduce, or even which ones will you reduce first if something happens. Sort of have a conscious list, or even a physical list. Write it down. Think, you know what? If things hit, if my situation hits the fan, if things get bad, these are the first things to go. And the reason that's important is because many, many times I look at I talk to someone that's about to go through some financial stress, or they're currently going through it, it's very common for irrational decisions to be made. It's very common for someone to just cancel the first thing that comes to mind, when really that's probably the most important thing they need. An example I'll give you is life insurance. So many times I'll get a phone call from someone saying, hey, look, things are really tight at the moment. We have to cut costs. We want to cancel our life insurance. We want to cancel the income protection. And statistically, that's the time you actually need it the most. So if you can have a list of things that, you know what, these are our wants. These are the things that we can live without, or at least live without for a period of time. And these are the things that we're going to reduce if things get tough. It will make it a lot easier to plan if you have that, essentially. And it'll make sure that you're making rational decisions, and you're making decisions that have been thought out. The other one is to get on top of debt. So a person can have lots of debt: credit card debt, mortgages, personal loans, family, friends, spur, tax, HECS. They can have a lot of debt and be able to manage things and get by fine. But as soon as things get tighter, in that income reduces or expenses are higher, that's when it starts having more of an impact on someone's financial situation and their cash flow. Paying down debt and getting on top of debt it's not a quick win. I was going to say it's a quick win. It's not a quick win because it takes time. But it's a bit of an obvious one. It's a bit of an easy win, because if you can get on top of debt, reduce your repayments, improve your cash flow, it will then give you a bit more fat at the end of the month, cash flow wise, and it'll also give the ability to save more money. And an option is, to drop a disclaimer, I'm not licensed to give advice on credit. Talk to your mortgage broker or talk to someone that can give you this advice. But if you have a mortgage, for example, and you're on fixed, and it's coming off fixed, maybe in 6 months, it may be in 6 weeks, it may be in 6 years. If you can start preparing now to see what your situation is going to look like, maybe start making higher repayments now. Again, you need to look into the ramifications of that but and the pros of cons, and sometimes you may not be able to take that money back out if you need to. So again, talk to someone that's licensed to give you advice on credit, like mortgages and credit cards and loans. But if you can increase your repayments initially, straight away, to prepare for when you're coming off fixed, that might be an option. An option could just be to make higher repayments from day one, just to pay off your debt faster. But if you can pay down your debt, manage your debt differently, or make sure that you're managing it as best as possible. Maybe you should be on a better interest rate on your mortgage. Maybe you should be on a better deal with your credit card or your loan. Look into these things now, because there's nothing more stressful than trying to deal with financial stress and doing that at the same time. For example, it's like, again, let's just go back to my initial analogy of going through a storm, preparing for a storm. Let's say there's a storm coming. It's going to be a lot easier now to clean out your gutters, to silicon the parts of the house which water might get through, to clear certain parts of the house where rain can cause issues, or there could be buildup of water, to maybe get a carport built, maybe put a cover on your car, secure things that are loose in the backyard. It's going to be a lot easier to do these things before the storm comes than it is when the storm's actually happening. So let's say there's a storm happening right now. Just imagine me outside right now trying to clean my gutter, going on a ladder, going on the roof, trying to silicon things, it's impossible. Or if it is, it's going to be very hard to do and not as effective as well. Thanks for joining us on Sharing More Than the Sheets. Please make sure you subscribe to be updated with future episode releases, and feel free to share this episode with any friends or family that you think it might benefit. Please visit us at sharingmorethanthesheets.com.au to submit questions or requests for future podcast topics. These podcasts have been brought to you by Better Financial Planning Australia. To book a 15-minute phone chat, visit betterfinancialplanning.com.au.